Okay, I've mentioned this before quite some time ago, but what if you could have one lens, let's just call it a lens, for less than $100 that will totally transform every Fuji lens that you've got? This is the best lens that Fuji makes. I own every Fuji lens except for 3 of them, and I've tested all of them. This is the 16mm f1.4. With the MCEX11 macro extension tube, which by the way has CPU contacts between the body and the lens so it transfers power for autofocus, what's the closest working distance? Meaning from the front of the element to the actual object that you're shooting. On the lens alone on the camera it's 59mm, which is really damn close. And when you use the MCEX11, which I right now have sitting on top of the 16 to 55 f2.8, it's 1mm. It's 1mm working distance. Right now with the 16 to 55 at the telephoto end, we go from a minimum working distance of 252mm down to 64. Wow. The 18 to 50, some lenses are more spectacular than others. One of the lenses that is rather spectacular is the kit lens, the 18 to 55. The minimum working distance at the wide end goes from 211 to 11mm, and at the telephoto end it goes from 284mm down to 91mm. You're talking basically a macro lens. All of that for $93. Let me show you an example. I'm not going to take it off right this second. I'm just going to turn it on, and I'm going to find, since I obviously can't measure, I'm going to keep creeping in. Okay. To the point where I've gone past the threshold. Okay. Okay. So this is the minimum working distance. I don't know what I was at. What was my focal? Yeah. Beautiful. Where was I at again? It's really about 53mm. Let's see the minimum working distance. Wow. Absolutely wow. Absolutely wow. That was at 50mm. Wow. Wow. Wow was right. Let me actually take it off and show it to you. It's a tiny little ring. Actually, the only one, and I've had this now for quite some time, I've used it with almost every lens. Obviously, it's not useless with some of the telephotos, but like the 50 to 140, it brings it down from, well, it is quite significant on the 5140. That's actually one I haven't tried it on yet. It takes it from 806mm to 126mm at the near end at 50mm. At 140, it takes it from 806 down to 398. So imagine zoomed in. I'm going to have to try that next. Imagine zoomed in at 140mm, and you drop your working distance from 806 to 398. That's less than half of your minimum working distance. So you wouldn't want to be shooting continuous with this. I mean, you're talking about macro here, by the way. You wouldn't be in single mode using this. Yeah, on the 56mm, there was one that was a bit more radical than another one. Yeah, 27mm. One of them drops it. Of course, 1mm on the 16. I mean, you'll actually scratch the front element. You can get it so close. Yeah, 3mm working distance on the 14mm f2.8. I got the chart link below. You can take a look at the chart. So just go ahead and take a look at that, and I'll show you what it is I'm talking about here. Let me take it off here. You should never set your camera sensor up like this, by the way. I'm being very careful, so I'm not worried about it. That combined with the fact that I know how to clean my sensors. Stick this back on the camera. This is the 16 to 55 at 2.8. There we go. So $93 on this little sucker. You can see the gold CPU contacts on the rear and on the front. This is made by Fuji. It's all metal. It's made like a brick outhouse. This is worth every bit of the $93 that you'll pay for it, because it will transform every lens that you got, some better than others. If you take a look at the chart in the link below, you will see how radical the transformation is. They talk about working distance versus shooting distance, which is to the sensor. Just to hell with that. Just pay attention to the working distance, which is basically like subject to the front element of the lens. I mean, that's all that really matters, for crying out loud. Absolutely amazing. Like if you're going to go on a trip and say, oh, well, I want to have a macro lens with me, but I only want to pack 2 lenses. It's like I want to pack the 16 to 55 and like a telephoto. But I really want to have a macro lens, but I don't have the space. And by the way, Fuji's macro lens, well, they're 80mm. They got the 60 out now, of course. There you go. Yes. One thing I do recommend, it should come with front and rear caps to keep the dust out. The dust bunnies out, it doesn't, so you should spend like another $8 for some front and rear caps to keep the dust bunnies out of this, because otherwise, yeah, it's no bueno. You know, either that or keep it in a Ziploc bag when you're traveling, because if the dust bunnies get here, then they're going to migrate to the sensor, and that's no good. But this is worth every bit. Well, we'll say with shipping. I don't know, shipping's free now, I think, so $93. This is, now, I know the next question you're going to ask. They make an MC EX 15mm, which is 4mm longer than this, but it has a lot more incompatibility with lenses. Sometimes too much is too damn much. So don't ask me about the MC EX 15. Screw it, it has too much incompatibility. It's just too long. Okay? Just to hell with it. Okay? Just get the MC EX 11. I don't know why they made the 15. Yeah, the 15 does a little bit more, but it also has a lot more incompatibility with more lenses, especially the zooms on the wide angle end of mini zoom. So, but you can take a look at that in the chart. So there you go. I highly recommend you buy one from wherever the hell you want to. Autorama, Amazon, whatever tickles your pickle. These are the front and rear caps I actually bought for mine to keep the dust bunnies out. And this is how I store it. So this is what it looks like with its dust caps. Doesn't weigh much. This is a must-have. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is worth every freaking damn stinking damn bit of $93. Okay? You feel me? Good. Absolutely. Absolute silk, sex, and sugar. Gigantic bucket of tits that little thing is. Get it? Get it?